Hi, Gavin. It's Biden Gillian from Sport 24 in Cape Town. Could you just give us a brief summary on the 90 minutes, especially in the first half? It seemed like Cape Town City were extremely comfortable against the side, so could you just explain the tactics and why you guys seemed a bit out with backs in the first half?
No, we were just slow, to close the space and, obviously, what am I going to say? I don't know what I want to say, but I can't say that. We just slow to close the spaces down, and they got in the half spaces and they got turned, and and then obviously when we did get the ball, we turned it over. We had 2-3 opportunities as well, but they were certainly better. And then the second half, we did very, very well, and we deserved the goal, I think, that's for sure.
Coach, Rob Delport, Cape Town. Coach, just a bit unfortunate with the second goal as well, and that made it a little harder to come back from.
Yeah, I'd love to score one of those. We haven't scored only one of those. So that was a bit unfortunate. And then, we missed that 2 real big misses that I thought that we should have scored, right under the crossbar, we should have scored there twice and didn't get them. So we left ourselves a big mountain to climb.
Cool, thanks. Gavin, I always actually wanted to ask you this question. For the season, I feel a bit uncomfortable with criticizing teams too much because, especially with regards to what's happening with regards to COVID and specifically for your team with the transfer ban. So I just wanted to ask, from your perspective, do you also think that way, where you take everything into consideration, like you guys can't sign the players that you want to, and everyone's suffering with inconsistency with the COVID and a lack of preseason and all those things? Do you also think that way, or do you actually put demands on your team where there's no excuses, you need and you have to win every game?
Well, the bottom line is not what I think. It's what the club thinks. So I know what's needed and what's not needed. But right now, it doesn't really matter what I think. It's a situation. It's a very tough situation, but we've got to look forward now and just try and finish well.
From Sokala Duma, how much of a difference would it make if you had like a number 9 or striker banging in goals, in and out, maybe trying to get into double figures? And is that a position you'll probably be prioritizing once the window opens?
I think we had a lot of opportunities in that position. I think we should have had somebody in double figures, that's for sure. But it hasn't been because of obviously unavailability and a lot of missed games and due to a lot of other reasons. There's one main factor, but that's out of my hands. So but that's not the be and end all of. But certainly we have missed a lot of opportunities, but we've also let a lot of goals in this year, which these type of games you can defend it better and still win these type of games.
Coach, someone who didn't ask via Zoom is Nathaniel is asking that Coach Gavin Hunt, is top 5 finish possible, and what disappointed you the most today?
Well, the loss is the most disappointing thing. I don't think, as I said, I thought the first half we were a little bit off it, but we still had one of good chances. I mean, Bernard Parker missed in the first half there, really, so that's disappointing. And then we got ourselves 2 goals down, which obviously we came back well and showed a lot of fight, and very unfortunate, as I said, not to get a draw. Now we're gonna, it's gonna be really tough, but it's gonna be tight. Everybody plays in.
Coach, how frustrating is it to watch your team having to react all the time and giving teams a start? And we saw how well they played in the second half. How frustrating is it for you to see them not start the game like that?
Hugely frustrating. I know what needs to be done, but we're still half asleep by the looks of things, and that's for me, I'm going to get that right. But I mean, we need to be better. the start of games, that's for sure.
Thank you, Gavin. I just want to ask you about, you obviously got Sundowns on Sunday. Your team seem to sometimes rate. You've seen against Pirates, you beat Wydad. Do you feel like your team doesn't need any motivation for these kinds of games just because they seem to raise their game for these types of bigger games, so to speak?
Yeah, yes and no. I think you should be up for every game, but you can't pick and choose where you want to, who and where you want to be up for. So that's something that I've got to instill into players, but that takes time.
Coach, I just want to find out something quickly from the coach. Coach, I think in your first in your life as a coach, I think Baron Swallows then in the day, it's the first time in many years that you coach a team with such a big following, where you get criticized even when you're doing well. And in this time, we see that Kaizer Chiefs has actually has not been doing well, despite you having gone 8 games without a loss, but you still get the flag from the supporters. How much does it mean for you, the pressure that comes from the supporters who are not on the stands?
Well, the bottom line is, as you've seen around the world, football clubs are, supporters are everything for football clubs. And it's important that we got to understand and we do better for the supporters. I do think at a club like Kaizer Chiefs certainly doesn't help them not having supporters, because that's been the cornerstone of the football club for the last 50 years. So there's no doubt that it's certainly taken a huge chunk out of it, where other clubs don't really get much support, and they play week in and week out. But a club like Chiefs need the support. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, sure, they wouldn't be happy by now, that's for sure. But they would certainly see more at a live game. More, even if you watch the game properly, you will see a lot that a lot that needs to be decided.